Good morning. How are
Oh,
you?
good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I've only seen you from afar for,
I know. I met you that one time over for my gosh, where was that? We were at oh my gosh. Evie's
that's
for
right.
yep, for
Yes.
Cody's party of leaving. And going
Yes.
for I was like, "Oh my gosh, I never met you before."
That's so true. So true. So yeah, I'm so grateful to one, have you in my husband's life.
Yeah.
You do miracles that I cannot do at home.
I try.
So
Oh, trust me, I understand. I really do. It's my fiance is like, he'll be like, "Hey, my hip flexors are tight. Can I come into the office this week?" I'm like, "Yes, yes. Schedule an appointment. Let's get it going."
Oh yeah, absolutely. So speaking of, let's get it going. This is Sarasota
Yeah.
Spotlight. So welcome everybody that's going to be watching this. I'm bringing to you Sandy Arthur. She is the chiropractor that works on my husband. And for those that don't know my husband, he's very, very physically active. So he's a personal trainer as well as an arm wrestler, came from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu family. Um, there's a lot of broken pieces to him, and Sandy puts him back together like Humpty Dumpty, and it's so wonderful because he gets home and I feel bad, but I just don't have the strength to work on him, and it's just absolutely wonderful. So thank you, Sandy, for coming and speaking with me this morning. I have reviewed your website, and I have to say congratulations on 2 years.
Thank you.
All good things there.
I'm
And
very happy.
I was perusing your website because
Mm.
I actually am now looking for my own chiropractor. So I'm going to be reaching out to you soon, coming
Oh, thank
in
you.
to see you. So I hope
Of
you
course.
have some availability.
Yeah, anytime. I love working on all types of people, but it's a lot of fun to enjoy having even like having couples. Like if you when you start getting people who come in, usually I always joke it's the husband first, and they're usually very passionate about coming in to see me, and then they'll be like, "I need to get my wife in, I need to get my wife in." I say, "Okay," and I see the wife, and I go, "Ah, I have the other half of the equation." When you spend time with people and you inevitably get to know them
Yes.
and you start to see that other half and you're like this makes a lot of sense. And then sometimes I get the woman first or one of the partners first, and they'll like try their hardest. They're like, "I'm gonna get my husband in, I promise, like I promise." And then eventually I'll get a phone call, be like, "Do you have anything available this week? He's in so much pain," and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, I do, I will make it work, and I see the guy. So but I
That,
love seeing couples. They're so much fun, and it you get that like fun interaction, and being like, "What are you doing today? What do you what's Mel doing? Like how is it gonna how was your weekend?" And it's really fun to kind of engage with them, and they're usually very local people, so my favorite
oh,
type of people.
yeah, yeah. Just chatty Cathy's all day long in the office.
Yep. Yep, all day. I love it. It's one of my favorites because they just give such a fun dynamic,
Yeah.
and you really get to see it. Like even sometimes I see their kids too, so it just depends. But it's really fun to kind of have that family come in, and it's it doesn't even matter, younger or older couples too. When they come in my office, it's like everyone's just very a little bit more open and more vibrant with me. And when they're
Okay.
like, "Okay, I trust you with my significant other's care or my child's care," so
Yeah.
it's really cool. But yeah, I love treating locally. I'm from Sarasota originally, so
Me
it's
too. I love
yeah,
that.
really, that's
Where
awesome.
did you go to school?
So I went to Pineview from fifth grade to 12th grade. And my parents are from here as well. So, and my grandparents are from here. So it's been kind of nice to return back to Sarasota after leaving for school. And then I moved to Charleston for a couple of years, and I was like, I need to move back. And it was really necessary for me. And I love it because my fiance is not from here. He's from Kansas City. So it's really nice to show him places and to kind of get to see Sarasota in my own light again, and, have to explore again. So, because a lot of
What's
things
some of
have
your favorite
changed.
aspects of Sarasota?
Uh, I would say for me, I love the community. I think a lot of people think that the community has grown too large because there's so many people. I disagree. I think that you are going to run into somebody that and if you've been around long enough, You'll know somebody who knows somebody, and I like the putting the pieces together. Like I've treated I treated the man who was on my mother's school bus when she was 12, pulling her pigtails and like, messing with her. And when he figured out that I was her daughter, we don't have the same last name. So it was really funny because he was like, oh crap. It's a
Wow.
small world,
That's a
And
full circle. Wow.
my mom's a veterinarian in town. So, I just had a patient who was telling me about that they were referred to Dr. Brown to get physical rehab for their dog. And I said, well, that's my mother. That's so funny. It's like, that's just like a flow. And they're like, oh, it is a small world. I was like, yep. I always say don't burn bridges in Sarasota because you're going to run into somebody that
It's
who
true.
knows
And
somebody else.
really, if you are burning that bridge, it was meant to be burned in the first place and was never
Yes,
meant to be on your path. And that's okay too.
100%.
I
A
definitely
100%.
agree. It's not wise to burn bridges,
Hmm.
heal. I get it. People hurt,
Absolutely.
heal, and then
Hmm.
repair and,
Yeah. And I tried to move into Sarasota. I came back to Sarasota with the intention of wanting to be involved with my community. In fact, before I opened my own office, I had this like blog idea I wanted to do. It was called In with the Locals. And I did this whole thing and it fell off to the wayside because I started my business and I was like, okay, I got to put all my energy into this.
sure.
But I've actually continued the spirit of it because now I've got, merchandise that says it's in, Wellco Chiropractic, it's in with the locals because I am a local and I love treating locals. And even though my snowbirds, they're half my business, I love them, they're great.
Sure.
Um, Having people around that they live in the neighborhood of where I practice and like,
Mhm.
they tell me the goings ons and things. I just love that. And I love interacting with my patients because I know about their grandmothers. I know about their daughters going to NYU. I know about, like their, like, we get to know each other because you spend 20 minutes with me and, I'm asking you about what's going on. And, somebody's like, oh, have you tried the new restaurant? Have you been to the new Calusa? Have you been over to see the restaurant downtown and this, that, and the other? And I love that. I think that's really fun. And I have
Yeah.
one patient who's very passionate about food. So he'll tell me to go to, different restaurants around and or if I'm traveling somewhere, he'll give me a list of restaurants. So I have to report back to him. And also as I should say, a millennial female, it's nice to be able to interact with older, I'd say baby boomer males and be like, what's your favorite restaurant in town? I always ask that question for a lot of my new patients that I struggle to get talking points with because you do have to, between the, how does this feel? Is this okay? Okay. What's your favorite restaurant? Does this hurt? Sorry. Okay. Why do you like that restaurant? So it's really nice to have that. And I I love having the interactions that I do, and especially being a solo provider, like I'm just by myself in the office. Having that is it's really nice to kind of get that like feedback from people, and I'm better one on one with somebody than in a group. So for me, it's like I can really hone in on what this person needs, and also like there's an emotional component because I'm spending more time with them. And then as we kind of develop this relationship, I'm able to get a little bit more out of them and understand, there might be something that somebody misses and doesn't want to tell me or forgets to tell me. And we'll start talking, and they're like, oh, yeah, well, I started pickleball and I started doing this and I want to meet friends. And I was like, okay, we started pickleball. How much do you play pickleball? What's your warm up routine and all this other stuff? And then we go back to the friends concept of like, okay, well, you want to start meeting friends. And it's great because I think Sarasota's done a really good job of trying to bring in. I shouldn't generalize, but I do think they're doing a really good job of trying to bring in young people. Now,
Yes.
to keep young people, I think that it needs to do a little bit more providing different things for young people to do that are not just drinking or getting out. Like, I love the run clubs. Don't get me wrong. I think they're great.
Sure.
Jokingly, I tell my
Yeah.
future brother-in-law, I said, you're gonna join a run club and I'm excited for you, but you'll also be in my office in like 2 weeks because you don't warm up. So, but I do think that Sarasota needs to do a smidge better of a job of bringing those people in. But if you do look, you can find those communities, whether you're into coffee and you want to go to the local coffee shop that's having like a pop-up event and you can meet other people there. Or like one of my favorite plant gift shops is called Salt Your Soul. And they do plant swaps every like month or
Oh,
something like that. And so you go there and you can bring plants. Yeah, it's amazing. They'll do plant shops and swaps and things like that. And Jen is the owner, and she like is phenomenal at making connections with people, bringing small businesses in. She's all about that. And I think that that's ultimately what I strive for in my business, is being able to create a hub, if you will, of like healthcare providers that you want to, you can trust, and you know that they're really wonderful people. And, you know, I'm the type of person that if you're not getting help from me, I really want you to have somebody that will help you. So I'm not going to keep you and do the whole like 3 times a week for the rest of your life kind of thing. I'm like, okay, are we seeing progress? Great. Are we seeing progress? No. Okay, well, let's try one more time and then let's go from there. If we're not seeing any progress whatsoever, let's see if we can get you to some like Dr. So and so, do a full evaluation or x-rays and stuff like that. But that's what I strive for in my health community, is finding the right people, because I might not be the right doctor for you. And but somebody else could be, and why waste your time and my time, and
exactly.
get you to the right person? Because it's I people always kind of say it to me that it's weird that I am my landlord's a chiropractor. He's actually my family chiropractor, my childhood chiropractor, and which is great.
Oh,
I love it. He practices differently than I do. And then there's another chiropractor who also, she practices differently than we both do. And we're within the same like 200 feet, right? So everyone's like, oh, that's, really strange. And I'm like, no, it's actually very nice. I don't
yeah.
see them as my competition. Instead, I see them as my peers, albeit older than me. But I do find that I don't wish to create the competition in my realm. I'd rather reach out to somebody and connect. And it's been really good. That's why in my office I have a policy of like, you might come in and start to say something about another doctor, another chiropractor, and I'm not a doctor hater. I'm like, you can't. I know this person, you didn't like how they treated you or whatever, but maybe they had an off day. Maybe that's not, you're not just the right fit for them. And I think that's why it's important to find people that are the right fit for you. And I'm not the right fit for everybody. So that's why I try to never shade or anything like that. Again, Sarasota's really small, but it's kind of that, like even my old boss, I don't want to shade her. Like I would never talk badly about her in the office or anything like that, because she could be the right person for somebody else. That's fine. That's, I'm not here to, hoard patients together, but
Sure.
um
Yeah.
I
And you know
I
what's
really
funny
enjoy
about
that.
that?
Mm,
I recently heard this phrase that was so beautiful that I've kept it with me. And it's not that I have a therapist that I can go and talk to, because
mm,
honestly, I haven't really felt anybody really comfortable enough to just um, eh, open up and have them
mhm,
provide tools. So I'm
mhm.
a little on the fence on that one, but
Same.
I saw this reel the other day of this lady, and her message was so clear and hit so strong. But and I'm gonna kind of wing it at verbatim what she said, but it was something like, "A wicked tongue is the cause of unhealed trauma."
Mm,
So
mhm,
until you're healed, keep your mouth shut.
mhm,
Because
mhm,
otherwise it's just word vomit and it always makes you look bad. So, and
mhm,
I feel like we've all been there once upon a time where we just weren't happy with where we were and we wanted to place blame on others, or maybe somebody wronged us and we took it so personal and we didn't take into consideration what they're going through or where they're coming from or where,
mhm,
where their tone even exists. So
mhm.
a lot of times, like, I don't know, just that one lady saying that one thing, I was just like, oh, brilliant.
It's so true. I always joke with people. I get all types of people in my office. The joke is, do you see the 2 degrees on the wall? Neither of them say mental therapist or health therapist or counselor or psychologist. I can listen to you, but it sounds like you need emotional help. And a big thing for me is that emotional trauma and or emotional distress causes problems in the body. I
Yes.
cannot tell you how many times I've had people come in, and I worked on a woman once who she was screaming about this pain here. She was like, you can't touch it, you can't touch it.
Oh,
And I started asking her about her stressors, what's going on at work. And so she starts talking about work. And suddenly I could work into the tissue and it wasn't a problem. And I'm not one for a light touch. My specialty is called active release technique. So I'm working into tissue, to tendons, the muscles, all the fascia. And she wasn't screaming; she was just talking. And I think I let her go on for about 5 minutes. And I said, "Do you know that I have been pushing harder and working the tissue harder than I ever have, and you haven't screamed once?" And I said, "I don't think your problem I don't think this is a mechanical issue. I think it's a stress issue. I think you need to go see a therapist." I use the T word.
Yes.
Um, and I'm a big fan of therapy. I'm a big proponent. I've had one therapist that was wonderful. I was very lucky, and that's one of my goals in life is to have an office structure where I have a therapist that's next door. And obviously, patient confidentiality and everything, but
Sure.
um, the amount of people that would benefit from regular therapy, and I think in my office would be phenomenal. I mean, but there is a time and a place, and people have to be ready for it.
Yes.
So I unfortunately am that girlfriend of my friend group being like, therapy's wonderful. You should go to therapy.
Yeah, I'm
But it,
definitely not against it.
oh no,
I
you got to find the
haven't,
right person.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
It's just I don't even know really where to start, and I don't
Hmm.
want to just like go on these blind dates with therapists. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
I'm just like, I want to, like, if there was something like this that was
Hmm.
provided where I was actually seeing interviews of different therapists that were around town, where I
Hmm.
can be like, oh, I like her personality. Like, I really like that
Hmm.
one. Like, she seems really good. Um, I feel like that's where my hesitation is because and
Hmm.
it's the same. Funny enough, and I don't know where this trauma exists. I have the same thing with food, where I
Hmm.
am so food driven, but if
Hmm.
I'm not sure of a new restaurant, like if I'm going to a new restaurant and I don't really
Hmm.
understand their menu very well, it
Hmm.
it makes me anxious to order something where I might be
Hmm.
disappointed.
Mm.
Isn't
That's
that
fair.
it's the stupidest shit? I'm like,
No, that's
it's
that's
just
totally
food,
fair.
Kelly. Just eat it. It's a packed restaurant. It's not like the food's bad. Just order the damn food. So it's like I have
It's
these
totally
mental
fine.
battles.
Hmm. No, I
So
absolutely understand. My therapist is actually up in Charleston. And so when I moved back to Florida, she couldn't practice with me, which I was so upset about.
oh,
But I tried seeing an in-person therapist once and it wasn't for me. And um, I think I will probably be in the next, one of my goals for this year. I always set quarterly goals. So my goal includes finding a therapist that I like. And I found that I the problem with having a virtual therapist, I should say, or just an online therapist, is that you do need a space where your significant other isn't home. My significant other works from home, so I would have to say to him, okay, every 9 o'clock every Wednesday, I'm gonna have you. You have to go to the gym. Like, leave. I got to talk to my therapist. Because the in-person thing is hard. You have to go, you do have to set aside the time. It's usually an
yeah,
hour or something like that. So let's with traffic, you're setting aside 2 hours, and it is a big time commitment. So
yeah,
that is something I'm thinking about getting into a little bit more, just because I do feel like, especially being a business owner, um, and I would love to find a therapist that specializes in either business owners or highly driven people, because there's something about what we do every day and trying to continue to grow it, and then also, but you still have to nourish yourself and your mental fortitude. And it's tough because you'll go from wildly swinging, or I love this one. I love talking to my patients, especially when they're different age groups. But currently I've been asking a lot of my baby boomer patients, about that are business owners. I ask them what their opinions about Gen Z and millennial employees, and I always get the comment of like, millennials, they only want to work their 40 hours a week and then they're done. Okay. Gen Z, they don't even want to work. And I was like, okay. And and I talk to other millennials mostly, I would say, and that are business owners, and they're just frustrated about the situation where it's like, it's hard, got to raise your prices, you got to do all this. And
yeah,
I find that it, it's so interesting because we are in a different world. I may work 20 hours a week. I may work 40 hours a week. I may work 80 hours a week. I really don't know. I don't count my hours because I love what I do.
Yeah.
And to them, I'm working towards my own game. So I always explain it to people of like, it's interesting. We live in a world with we can do things faster. We have the internet, we have AI, we have all these tools at our hands. And I don't think we should be punished for trying to do things more efficiently. That's a big thing for me. And but I will still hear, oh, the millennials and all this, that, the other. It's like a
Yeah.
cycle. It's like a wheel. But I do think that it's important to make time for yourself within, your work confines and everything like that. And so having therapy and having time for yourself. And I am not a business, I'm not an employer yet. I have some
Yeah.
contracted employees, but eventually I'd like to hire. And I think I'd love to be, a really great boss and a really like welcoming person. Um, but I do get a lot of those older patients that have businesses and they tell me all these things and I'm like, they're a little jaded, and I think
Yeah.
that I'd like to break that cycle in my career oriented job. So that's something that I'm actually looking for in a therapist of like talking about, like, especially as I hire people and move on, because I think that's important to have time to
Yeah.
reflect because you can't do everything. You
No,
really
you
can't.
definitely can't. It's one thing to focus on what we're really great at, and
Hmm.
another thing to understand our own egos to know when to let things go.
Hmm.
Let
I have a
other
hard time letting things
people
go.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to dive a little bit deeper
Mm.
into the services that you provide. And
Mhm.
one, I want to also offer, do you do gift certificates?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. Because I would love the opportunity to at least like put your business out there in a way where people
Oh,
can
yeah.
actually gift services to people
Yeah.
because I don't know if you have kids, Sandy, but
I have a
I'm
dog.
almost empty nested. I've got
Oh.
6 more years till my youngest turns 18, and it's not that I'm counting down those days by any means, but we've had so many great memories and so many holidays where we get tangible gifts for things.
Mhm. Love
And
that.
suddenly the whole house is cluttered. It's a mess. Half of the things don't
Mhm.
even get opened.
Yep.
Most of the
Yep.
things
Yep.
don't even get used. Or, even the couple of items that you buy, they break immediately. So I closed down gifts last year and was like,
That's a good. Mhm.
I'm done. Services all day long. You want to go on a trip? Let's make some memories instead of giving
Mhm.
us things that are going to clutter, fall apart, and be unusable within a very
I
short
like
period.
I like the minimalist lifestyle for
Yeah.
sure.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. Huge
I love
fan.
that.
Like, let me
Mhm.
buy the tangible things for myself because I'm
Yeah.
all day long. I'll I got that
Yeah.
covered. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, like if I feel like I have to purge half of my house in order to accept all the new holidays coming in, it's too much. It's overwhelming. So
Mhm.
I'm very interested in seeing who offers services that have gift certificates as well
Yeah.
because I know my husband is not going to watch this video being what were we at 15 minutes now or 25 minutes now, and so I feel very safe in saying this. I'm going to buy a gift certificate and gift that to him.
I
um,
have that. I just had a few people do that. So absolutely.
Perfect,
Makes it
because
easy.
that's
Makes
one
it
of my
easy.
absolute favorite things to do is
Mhm.
massage. You do acupuncture, which is super
Mhm.
cool. I didn't know that
Yeah,
you
I
did
love it.
that. I know you do
Yeah.
cupping because he'll come
Yeah.
home looking like he got attacked by the octopus.
That's what I
So,
say.
that's always
I always
fun.
tell people, I'm like, tell your significant other you got attacked by an octopus or something because it's so funny. Yeah, I of course I do active release, which is more than musculoskeletal. I do acupuncture for both mental, emotional, and physical. And I always tell people I refer out for acupuncture as well. I use it in tandem, like in tandem with my
Oh, nice.
work. So working on the muscles. I currently treat a few people for anxiety, stress disorders. Um, but I'd say when people ask me about my office, I basically have taken everything that has helped me in my life and my chronic pain and just put it together because I see three different professionals. I see my massage therapist, I see my old coworker for active release, I see my acupuncturist who I love and adore, and I see my chiropractor as well. So it's like, you know, I have all four professionals, and I just kind of wanted to put it together. Mostly because of my chronic pain. I needed that, and it was important to me to kind of um, it's important for me to let people know that pain is not a 0 or 100. There's so much more in between, and I probably live at a 1 to a 2 out of 10 pain every day, and that's not because it can be I'm not putting time into it. It's just depending on what I do. So sometimes I really do want to eat that pizza, and sometimes I really do want to enjoy myself, and or I just don't drink enough water. Like it's I'm human too. So I find that for me putting that together, and I like to be that reminder for people. Like everyone always laughs at me. They say, drink lots of water, you know, drink half your body weight in ounces of water. And they're like, oh, okay, you know, drink lots of water, like all the whole thing. But I,
Don't leave this.
yeah, there you go.
My silly backdrop here. It keeps. I leave the house with this, and Jameson immediately he sends me this video of the guy that's like over dramatizing women's cups, and it's like basically a garbage can with a handle. And he's like, "This is what you ladies look like leaving the house," and I was like, "I got
It's a weapon though.
dehydrated. I'm gonna be
I'll
gone
take
all
it.
day."
Yeah, I could have that. Yeah. I do that all the time. I've got a water filter at the office, so it's like I'm usually filling that up, and you know it's so funny, but I think it's really important. It's important to be hydrated. You're 70% water, so that's really important. If you think about the more dehydrated you are, the more it's going to affect your discs, and basically the shorter you're going to get, the older you are, and that's going to affect your entire body. But I really the reason I named my business Well Co is because I wanted to really call it like Wellness Collective, because eventually I'd love to have a space where I have multiple different professionals coming in, because I wanted to provide a renter friendly area for providers that are starting their business, and all different types of professions, but mostly just health centered. And well, like wellness to me means like holistic. You mean you're looking at the whole body. It's not just finding, one specific thing to focus on. Like, of course, I've got my people that I just do tennis elbow work on, or, migraines are a big one. But what are we looking at? I'd love to have a nutritionist in office. I'd love to have, a physical therapist. So it's like you spend half an hour with me and half an hour with them, like just keep moving along, because that's ultimately the best way to do it, is having this sort of collective of people. And I think a lot of healthcare providers want to point fingers or like get mad at somebody. I'm not here for that. Like everyone has their specialty. I personally don't like subscribe or prescribing exercises. That's like not, I do it, but it's not my favorite thing.
Sure.
So
Okay.
refer over to my physical therapist. I work with a pelvic floor physical therapist. So she's, amazing, because I'll have women that come in and they'll explain things to me, and or they'll, describe symptoms they're having. They're like, oh, I can't jump. I'm going to pee myself. And I'm like, you definitely need to see Erin. Like, she's amazing. And you need to get in with her because you've had 3 kids or whatever. And it's amazing how many women that come in and they've never thought about getting work done. They're like, well, I'm 65. I've had 3 prolapsed uteruses and everything. And I'm like,
Oh my God,
you don't have to live with that.
that's a
Like, let's
lot.
work.
Yeah,
So,
that is a lot. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, having just recently gone through a hysterectomy over the summer, like
Mm,
3 prolapse anythings were
mm,
so scary. I mean,
mm-hmm,
my doctor was very adamant about my follow-up. So he was like,
mm-hmm,
absolutely, no, 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 no. And I was like, okay, I got it. And it's like the first time you break that boundary, it's the scariest thing. It is
mm-hmm,
so petrifying. You're just like, whoa, it
mm-hmm,
doesn't feel like myself anymore.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, that
Yeah.
was a different one for me. My biggest issue I feel is if I'm working out, doing
Mm,
anything that has like box jumps or burpees, anything where I'm
mm,
moving up, down, and then this motion, anything
mm-hmm,
up and down for like a long period of time. Like I don't know where I transition from being able to like jump rope and be normal, or like being on a swing and be enjoying the activity to being completely dizzy. So now it's like
Mm.
just like a slight like up and down jumping movement will like completely send vertigo. And I'm like,
Mm.
I don't know what's happening, but I'm sure it's something.
I'd be curious to check your blood pressure. I would be very
Okay.
curious to see if that was affecting. Sometimes we do have that issue with blood jumping. There's a couple different disorders, but off the top of my head, but I'd be very curious about that, or if you were having some sort of just like loss in pressure overall. But especially if you were doing burpees, definitely I could see there being a lot of vertigo related issues with
A
that.
lot of vertigo. Like I get so motion sensitive the older I
Hmm.
get. And I don't know, maybe it's because like I started out in gymnastics and
Mm.
martial arts and doing all the fun things. And then, when I reached like the end of high school, I kind of took a break of that. Then I had children. So I wasn't really
Hmm.
super active in martial arts until really until I met Jameson. So
Hmm.
when we would start doing jujitsu rolls immediately, that was like a
Hmm.
warm up for like 15
Hmm.
minutes. We're doing like this drill work. Well, 5 minutes in, I have to sit on the sides because I'm like, I'm gonna
Hmm.
throw up. Thank you so
Hmm.
much, but
Yep.
next time I'll just show up after the warm up so that we can actually get into some training because I can't do the warm ups anymore. It's like
Hmm.
I don't know what's
That's
happening.
too much. Yeah, that would be interesting. Definitely checking in on the inner ear is important because that would have to
Yeah.
do with a lot of the balance. I just did a seminar where we did part of the protocol was all about balance and measuring that, and I just ordered all the tools to do work with it because it's so important. And the older you get, balance is really important for women, especially, and like you need to make sure that your quads are really strong too, because that's the highest likelihood of women having issues when they're older is falling and breaking their femur. And my mother is this way too. So she had a fall and broke her femur. And part of that is quad strength and being able to secure around the joint. So, but
See.
hers was she tripped over a dog.
Oh no.
But it's like, it's what happens. You get hip surgery, you get a puppy, and then you trip over said puppy. I'm like, okay, it's all right,
Oh,
it's fine.
oh no.
But the balance is so important, and that's why I have a lot of patients that if they've had long-standing history with diabetes and things like that, they're not able to feel their feet as well. The peripheral nerves aren't there. So um and then I have people with vertigo too, and it's a pretty rough time sometimes because I have to be very slow with what I do because I do not want to set you off onto a vertigo spiral or anything like that. But yeah, the
Sure.
spinning and it's not fun, but it's
It's
important
not.
doing balance
Yeah.
training too.
Yeah. It just kind of
Very much
feels like
so.
the earth just shifted, on you, and you're like,
Yeah,
minute.
the axis just went whoosh.
But yeah, other than that, I don't have too many other issues. Just honestly, it's just posture stuff that I need to work
Yeah,
on.
you and
Just
everybody else. That's all
realign. Yes. I'm
I see it all day long.
hair ridden most of the day. So a lot of
Yep.
times like I'm not sitting properly. Even in my car, laying in bed watching TV.
Hmm.
I have a very curved posture and I'm
Hmm.
starting to recognize that it's setting things off like for my hips, my neck, and everything's
Hmm.
connected. And I need to obviously make an appointment with you soon so we can get me on track again. So yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Go.
Oh, oh, looks like your screen froze. I don't know. Oh, something happened. I lost connection here. Oh, there you
Oh
are.
yeah, got it.
Okay, got you. There you are. I knew that was gonna happen. All right. Well, is there any other information? I'm going to go ahead and leave your contact in the description on
Oh
YouTube
yeah,
so
thank
everybody
you.
will be able to find you. So I'll have your name, your company information, your address, your work address, and stuff like that, so that
Mhm.
they'll be able to find you and book you. Because
Perfect.
I hope you
I'll
get
add it to my blog.
business. Yes, yes. So all the
Any
time.
other information? No, I don't really have too much else. I guess what I always tell people is if anyone ever has any questions or anything like that, I do have a free consultation. You can just book it online. And it's a 15-minute consult, and I'll hop on the phone with you and call. And if you're not a great fit for what I do, then I'm going to help you find somebody else. I'm a
Perfect.
big fan of making sure that you're in the right place, because honestly, like if you're in pain and I can't help you, it feels like a wasted time on my part and wasted money on your part. So
Yes.
that's a big thing for me, is making sure you get to where you're right. Because being in pain is not worth it. Like,
I
I
agree.
understand, I say I live in like a 2 out of 10 pain, but that's the difference. Like if you're in pain and it's preventing you from living your life and doing things that you want to do, within reason, Jameson, then I do feel like that is you know, you need to figure it out. You need to continue to solve it. And I do have people all the time that come in and they're like, I just want to play golf 3 times a week. And I'm like, okay, you understand that this is going to be painful for you. Yes, I do. Okay. So we do have people that are like that. And then I have other people that are like, I want to be able to pick up my kids, and so it's like, okay, we will focus on that. And so it's very important to me to make sure that everyone feels like they're taken care of. And if I can't help you, I will find somebody who can help you for sure.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad that you came on and spoke with me today.
Thank you. Thank you for
I,
inviting me.
it was something that was on my brain, and when I reached out, I was like, I really want Sandy on there. I would love to have her on there. And
Thank you.
I
Thank
was
you for having
telling
me.
Jameson about it, and he's like, just invite her. And I was like, I will.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm inviting her right now. It was like
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for reaching out.
perfect. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
absolutely. And we're kind of
Yeah.
on the same plane here, but I've always lived in Sarasota, so
Mhm.
I never moved away. But it's it's so wild when you start out with something, you're not really sure where you want to be, and then suddenly you put together your career, and 2 years
Mhm.
later you're like, this was the best decision ever.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Would never, ever, ever. If anyone ever wants to just talk business about opening your own business, I'm very passionate about it. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm the person that people are like, I'm thinking about quitting, and I'm like, quit, do
Quit.
your own thing.
Quit all day long. Yes. Put in
That's
your
it.
notice
No.
right now. Just walk out.
Mhm.
Flames
Yeah.
adjust,
Yeah. Pretty much.
all the
I
things.
within reason. I'll say
Sure,
that.
sure. Not burning bridges, just saying,
Yes.
if you're not happy, life's too short for that. Just go and, if something's not
Mhm.
working for you in your job, definitely.
Mhm.
Why
And you have
stick around if it's not working? There's so many other professions out there. And I'm a
it.
huge advocate for reinventing yourself. So, hey, if you want to do this one job as a kid,
Mhm.
maybe it doesn't align with you like when you're just starting out, but maybe further down the road, you want to retouch back on that life journey and
Absolutely.
live out that childhood dream. And so for me, it was like I gave up wanting to become a police officer to raise
Mhm.
children because
Mhm.
nobody can, in my opinion, I can't be with my family if I'm working rookie hours, which are
Mhm.
technically like your first 5 to 8 years being on the
Yeah.
force from 7 at night to 7 in the morning. When am I going to have time for a family? So I gave that up, but in ways that like the draw to me wanting to go into law enforcement, actually, I figured out what I
Mhm.
actually liked about that. And then I
Mhm.
implemented that into where my business is now. And really, it's just
Mhm.
all about community,
Mhm.
knowledge, protection. And I just do that on a different level now. So,
Yeah. That's wonderful. That's
yeah.
wonderful. But figuring that out is the best thing. It really is. And it's much more fulfilling. And you fulfill other people's lives better when you're able to find your calling and your passion. 100%.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. And I don't know, I'm sure there's many people out there going, like, um, fuck realtors, but I was like, yeah, fuck the police, it's not the superest, friendliest job out there, the most
Yeah.
acceptable, when you see a police officer, everybody's kind of like, ugh. But I don't know, that was that for me,
I
that
feel
was
that.
where my calling was, and I wanted to go into
Mhm.
that. And then now I have my daughter who's I don't think she ever knew this about me. I don't think she knew that I gave that up.
Mhm.
And she's actually going to school for forensic anthropology now. She's
Cool. That's
like,
amazing.
I love all the crime drama. Like, I
Hmm.
want to be the forensic files person. Like, I
Hmm.
love this. She's so passionate about it and she loves her major.
Hmm.
And so I just get to, relive everything that I wanted to do through her now. So
Amazing. That's really
yeah,
cool though.
yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's so awesome.
I think so too. So I'm looking forward to it.
Good.
I might not look forward to the days where she's like, "Hey, mom, check out this dead body" or something like that. I
Hmm.
don't think that would ever happen. But I don't necessarily want that to be the thing. But
Yeah.
as long as I know that she's really happy with what
Mm.
she likes to do, and
Passionate.
yeah, just
That's all you need.
so excited for her. But yeah, just reinvent yourself. Like, who cares?
Hmm.
If you
Hmm.
don't like what you're doing, like if you're in the restaurant business, like I was for way too long, just
Too long.
change your life. Change your life. I
Hmm.
promise you it gets better the second you
Hmm.
scare yourself to death to leave a job for something
Hmm.
that you actually desire. It'll
And
work
change
out.
is scary, but time goes by anyway.
It does. It does.
Hmm.
And
100%.
yeah, the struggles are, it's a different kind of hard. It's
Hmm.
what do you want your hard to be? Do you want your hard to be that you're financially incapable of taking care of your family, or do you want your
Hmm.
hard to be that you might miss out on some important events because you're building up a financial platform for your children
Hmm.
that when you depart, there's a secure
Yep.
net for them. So
A launching block. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I definitely think that opening my own business has opened my eyes to struggles that my mother has had opening her business and also given me a nice respect for it. And then I also, I work my own hours now, and I absolutely love that I've been able to heal and have time for myself. And I work the hours that work for me. And that's something that's really, I'm very passionate about and not burning out. And
yes.
um, I love what I do. And I think my fiance put it best.
Yeah.
He said when I quit my last job, when I opened my business, he goes, "Oh, I thought you hated being a chiropractor. Turns out you just hated working for somebody else." And I was like, "That's absolutely what happened."
That's exactly
So,
right. Yeah.
mhm,
It's funny that
100%.
the self-realization, what we go through just to learn who we are as people, it's
Hmm.
bananas. Anyway,
Hmm.
thank you so much for coming and speaking with me.
Yeah, of course.
I hope you have a fabulous
Thank you
weekend,
for having me. Thank you so much.
and I'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good. Have a great one, okay?
Thanks, you as well. All right, bye.
Bye.